One last question on the WikiLeaks, Ambassador Patterson's, again, the cable which talks about the certain sense of nervousness about the growing sale of arms sale to India, because it might kind of fuel the Pakistan establishment's paranoia and might actually push them closer to certain groups in Afghanistan and also the terrorist groups there.
Look, what has the president done? If there are some postulations or some rumors or some pieces of cables or advice that say that somebody somewhere in the world is worried about the U.S. and the India governments becoming closer and becoming global partners, what has happened as a result of that tidbit of advice or that position? The president came to India and announced in historic ways that his vision of the U.S.-India relationship was even a closer one, was one of more global cooperation, was one of more intelligence sharing, was one of more benefit to our societies, jobs in America, opportunities for the poor to rise into the middle class in India, for the Adami to do better and better in India. So again, it comes back to what is the president doing? What are the policy decisions that are made and articulated out of the White House with other governments? Those should be what the media is focused upon, not individual cables or rumors or tidbits of little information that are floating out there on the internet.
So what you're saying is the president's speech here in Parliament and whatever he said overrides all that the WikiLeaks seems to put out?
Well, that's policy. That's what you act on. You don't act on, a rumor on the internet, a piece of information that's dangling out there, a post that makes a particular recommendation that's one of literally thousands of recommendations that might go to the State Department or the White House. It's actually what is pronounced, what is articulated, and what is envisioned by the Secretary of State and the President of the United States. And President Obama has made that very clear. Here is where India is in terms of the priorities. It is a defining relationship for the 21st century. It is an indispensable partner to peace and prosperity. It is a cornerstone of the Asia policy for the United States. And India can be such a constructive neighbor for democracy, for peace, in the Gandhiji tradition, in the tradition of Rajiv Gandhi, in the tradition of other leaders of India, from Mr. Vajpayee to Dr. Singh, peacekeeping initiatives, foodstuff initiatives for Africa, partnerships on non-proliferation and keeping the most dangerous weapons out of the most dangerous hands. How do the United States and India work together on these kinds of initiatives? There's where we're really working together 24/7, not speculating about what a diplomat from India or a diplomat from America might have said as part of one of 250,000 cables.
Let's move away from the WikiLeaks now and talk about the United States called itself a human rights champion of the world. But what's happening in Sri Lanka, the genocide that's been happening in Sri Lanka, and even today there are gory visuals that have in fact made it to almost all television channels across the country, showing images of abuse, of even journalists being massacred. How does the United States react to these things?
The United States has a firm and articulate and I think very positive policy toward Sri Lanka on this. We are very supportive of renewal, of peace and prosperity for the people of Sri Lanka. We are working toward helping alleviate some of the pain and suffering from their civil war. The United States since 2009 has devoted more than $33 million in humanitarian assistance to try to help the situation there. The United States is trying to help rebuild and restore a hospital and 7 schools for some of the displaced people, and trying to create up to 5,000 jobs for people in Sri Lanka. We all know that you speak oftentimes through your stomach, and if you don't have a job, if you don't have opportunity, that makes for very difficult circumstances. The United States is trying to help on that front. And I'd also like to applaud India. The Minister of External Affairs, Mr. Krishna, who we have a great deal of respect for, work very closely with him. He just came back to India from a 4-day trip down to Sri Lanka, where he has announced some trade and transit and new partnerships there. So I think the United States has a very constructive and positive policy with Sri Lanka. I will let our very capable ambassador and our Secretary of State speak to it.